Hey guys, this video is going to be a lot of fun. Today I'm here to talk to you about US patent number 10,933,885, otherwise known as the Banks PedalMonster. This product is a throttle sensitivity booster that is 100% plug and play. You can add this upgrade to your truck without making any permanent change or modification. And best of all, it's made right here in the USA. And it's a pretty fun way to add some performance upgrades to your truck. And Banks has put a lot of work into making sure that they believe this product is safe, and they've tested it under many failure scenarios, and they claim that if something goes wrong, your throttle is not going to be affected. So what does the Banks PedalMonster do? Since they call it a throttle sensitivity booster, what that means is when you press your throttle, a signal is sent to your truck that tells it to go faster. The way this works is you unplug your throttle from the truck, and you simply plug this in between your throttle and the truck. And then what it does is it reads the signal that is coming from when you press the pedal, and it's adapting it based upon the driving conditions to send certain signals to the truck that are different to make it feel like it responds in a more powerful, maybe more aggressive way. So what the Banks PedalMonster does is it intercepts the signal when you press the throttle, and then while it's monitoring the truck via the OBD port connector, it's able to figure out how to intelligently change the signal that's being sent to the truck so that the throttle lag or the pedal lag that you experience from the factory is reduced when you have this plugged in. And then while you're driving, you've got 3 different drive modes. You've got stock, city, sport, plus a bonus one, track. In each one of those levels, you can change the sensitivity. So I've been driving with this now in my truck for a few months, and I've had a lot of fun with it. What I've noticed is that on the stock mode, the truck drives stock. It's like you wouldn't know it was there. When you bump it up to city, then the truck's a little more fun. It feels like it comes alive a little bit faster. So if you're waiting at a stoplight or you're starting from a stop somewhere, as soon as you hit the pedal, you're going to notice a difference that the truck seems to get up and go faster. And this is what is meant by reducing pedal lag. So as you hit the throttle, you notice more quickly that the truck is going to get up and go without you having to either wait or have a pause or have to push the pedal down harder. I think kind of like part 1 of this product is just reducing that pedal lag so that as soon as you hit the pedal, something starts happening. Part 2 is just the different levels of sensitivity. So you've got that city mode, then the sport mode, and then track mode. What I found is that for just normal city driving, city actually works really great. It makes the truck feel like you don't have pedal lag. It makes the truck feel responsive. What I noticed is when you're driving, the truck doesn't feel as heavy. It's as if the truck was lighter on its feet because it doesn't seem sluggish when you're getting up and going. You're able to hit the pedal and immediately feel that the truck is responding. I've had some friends tell me that even with the PedalMonster, the 10-speed transmission has some of its own lag that's caused simply by the way the transmission is tuned, but I haven't noticed that. In my opinion, the transmission does very well and shifts almost always where I would want it to. But I'm curious what you find out. So then let's cover the other modes real quick, the sport and the track mode. Sport mode is super fun. Like if you're out and you really just want to like get on the throttle, see what the truck can do, maybe impress your friends, like the sport mode is certainly a place to do that. What I noticed is if I have it in sport mode or even track mode and I'm doing something like going through a drive-through, just creeping forward at a drive-through a little bit, like the pedal is so responsive at that point that it's actually uncomfortable for me. I mean, it's doable. It's not like you can't control the vehicle, but the throttle is very sensitive. You don't have to touch the throttle as hard to get the truck to accelerate harder. If you're used to just giving your truck a little bit of gas to move forward at a light or maybe move forward in a drive-through line, you're going to notice the truck wants to jump or move faster than you thought. And if you haven't adjusted your foot sensitivity to the new pedal sensitivity on track or sport modes, you might surprise yourself or even scare yourself a little bit. So be careful with that. In track mode, what I noticed is, for me, in the way I use my truck, track mode is mostly just for fun. I mean, it's labeled track mode. I pretty much leave the truck in city mode as long as I'm driving around town or running errands. I'll put it in sport mode occasionally if I'm wanting to have fun with the truck, but most of my daily driving's in city mode, which does a great job. But when I'm towing my RV, I drop back down to stock mode because I don't need the pedal to be super sensitive. I really don't want the truck to get up and go quickly because I usually try to be very gentle when I'm pulling the RV so that I don't shake all of my personal belongings all over the trailer by the time I get to the campsite. Another quick tip I'd give you is before you let someone borrow the truck, flip it back to stock mode, or if you let someone else drive, just so they're not surprised. It's a little more forgiving that way. But here's the cool part. The fact that I'm having to tell you that means that this makes a difference. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I feel like it does wake the truck up, makes the truck feel lighter on its feet. It accelerates what feels like more quickly. It's not that it's adding horsepower or torque to your truck, but the feeling and the sensitivity you get through your pedal makes you as the driver feel like the truck is quicker. And one of my favorite things about this is that it's plug and play. So if you don't want it anymore, you can take it out and the truck's right back where it was. No screws, no holes, no damage. So the next thing I'm going to do is jump into showing you some clips about how I did the install in my truck so you have an idea what's involved. Banks also has a really great walkthrough video that'll show you how to install it. I did my install on a 2022 Super Duty F-350 with the Tremor package. The product that I have is just the PedalMonster Standalone option. The Standalone option is $295 and does not include any gauges or iDash readouts. So for you to control the PedalMonster using my version, I use the Bluetooth app on my phone that connects to the PedalMonster. You can see that here. The app's pretty intuitive. You've got your 4 drive modes down at the bottom to switch among, and then you've got some arrows right here on the side where you can either click up or down to do fine tunes within each of those modes. So you can say like, I want a city level 5 or I want a city level 7. You could actually change this sensitivity while you're driving as long as you let your foot off the throttle before you change it. Now, of course, be safe. Don't use your phone while you're driving. So what I wanted to point out is if you wanted a standalone gauge on your dash that showed you the readout about what the PedalMonster is doing, or let you control the sensitivity, you can buy 2 different versions here that are more expensive, $575 and $695, that come with those gauges. I found that wholly unnecessary because mostly what I do is I plug it in and leave it there, and I hardly ever change the sensitivity. If I'm towing, I pull out my phone, open the app, click the stock button, done. So in summary, I think this is a super fun product. I definitely recommend it for your truck. It is a bit pricey at $300, but I think the engineering quality and safety considerations that Banks puts into their products probably makes that price point worth it. So let's jump into the install video. I'll walk you through that. I'll show you exactly how I installed it, and then I'll walk you through the app. I know Banks actually mentioned some people were a little bit concerned about using the app to control it, and that might be confusing, but rest assured the app is super easy. So I'll walk you through the app as well. I'll screen record my phone and show you what it's like to change the drive modes inside the app. Let's go do it. So let's talk about the parts that come in the kit from Banks with the PedalMonster. So you basically have 3 different cables here. This cable is the actual PedalMonster itself, and this has a pigtail that plugs in between your accelerator pedal and the factory plug that the pedal plugs into. So this just goes in between there. And then the PedalMonster itself has 2 6-pin plugs. You use this little adapter here that's a 6-pin to 4-pin adapter to connect to either side of this. In the standalone setup we're doing, it doesn't matter which one you use. So you plug your adapter in, and then over here, this end of this cable plugs into your adapter, and this end plugs into your onboard diagnostic port or your OBD2. Oh, and one more thing to note, when we go plug all this in, make sure that you don't do the final zip ties yet to put everything where you want it under the dash, because once we reconnect the battery, we'll need to access the button on the back of this when we set it up with the initial configuration using the app on your phone. 10mm socket. All right, let's go disconnect the battery. Always good to disconnect the battery if you're working on the electrical system. Just loosen this nut right here a little bit, and this whole terminal can slide off. Remove the negative battery terminal here and on the other side, and then I put a cloth, a washcloth, something like that, towel underneath the battery terminal so that it doesn't accidentally reconnect. I want to make sure that I keep it separated. And I didn't have a rag like I usually do, so today I'm just going to throw a glove underneath that to make sure it doesn't reconnect. Now let's do the battery on this side. So as I came to do the battery on this side, I came across this creature. I have never seen a blue hornet like that before. Look at the size. It's huge. This thing is massive. All right, so let's look under the dash in this 2022 Ford Tremor Super Duty and see where we're going to be plugging in this Banks PedalMonster. So here's the accelerator pedal, and at the top of the accelerator pedal, there is a plug right here. So this is the plug that we're going to be removing and adding the Banks PedalMonster, attaching the pigtail between. To remove this, Banks has a great installation video that shows you how it works. So the red part slides up, that's the lock. The black part you push in, and then this slides off. Pretty easy. Now we take the PedalMonster with the pigtail and we insert it in between the plug we just disconnected. So I'm going to take the female end of the pigtail, slide it into the accelerator pedal, then you lock it by pushing this red tab back down. So here's the other end of the pigtail. I'm going to plug it into the accelerator pedal. Once it's on, lock it in with the red plug. And then the PedalMonster is down here. Now we'll get the PedalMonster connected to the OBD port. So the first thing we need is the extension adapter. So we can pick either side of the PedalMonster and use the 6-pin side of this extension and plug it into the PedalMonster. Now this plugs into this cable. Let me get this unwrapped. So let's take this end of the OBD cable and plug it into the extension on the PedalMonster. All right, got that plugged in. Now it's time to plug this into the OBD port, which on the Super Duties is literally right here. All right, at this point, I've got everything connected. I don't have this zip tied up yet. Let's reconnect the battery. Now that everything's connected down under the dash, I've reconnected both batteries and I've walked out here with my key now. So I've got to push start truck. So I'm going to push the start button. And the truck comes on into accessory mode. All right, so now the truck is on, but not running. And we can go down here and put the PedalMonster into pairing mode. So I'm gonna take a pin and push the little button on the back of the PedalMonster to get it into pairing mode. These are what the lights look like before pairing mode. When I push the light on the back, we should see an amber light show up. And now you can see the light to my right, the left side of the PedalMonster is amber colored. So I'm gonna open the Banks PedalMonster app and see if it auto detects it. But it only lasts for 30 seconds. So by the time I opened up the app and looked for it, it was no longer in pairing mode. All I had to do was go back with the pin, hit the button again, and then it was able to automatically pair with it. So super simple, easy to use. Getting it connected to the app was no problem at all. I did not have to connect the PedalMonster to my phone via the Bluetooth settings. I simply made sure that Bluetooth was turned on the phone, but I didn't have to connect using the settings app. All I did was open the Banks app, and then it identified it. It checked for the reverse gear to see if it was broadcasted by the truck. My guess is that the reverse gear is broadcast through the OBD port, and it's looking for that for safety reasons so that the PedalMonster knows when it's in reverse. Again, my guess is because it doesn't want to do any throttle acceleration when you're in reverse for safety reasons. That's just a guess. Then it asked me to depress the accelerator fully to the floor 2 different times as it did the initial calibration and setup of the app. After that, the app said I was ready to go and I could start changing the driving modes in the app. All right, so I'm sure there's a million ways to zip tie this up in a safe fashion, but I'm just gonna give you an idea of what I'm doing just in case you want one guy's opinion. So up under here, I took a zip tie and ran it through the far side of the Banks PedalMonster, ran it around this plate, over the top of whatever's up there, and then down through a hole right here. So what I'm gonna do is run it through this side of the PedalMonster, lock it to the other side of the zip tie, and then cinch it up right there. The Banks provided zip ties are super long, but I have some of these shorter zip ties, so in a couple places under the dash where I didn't need the long one, I'm just gonna use the short one. It's good to have options. Always make sure you clean up your zip ties. So here's how I routed my cable, just to kind of show you what I did. After plugging in the pigtail, I mounted the PedalMonster right there. You can see I zip tied it to that metal bracket right there. I coiled all the extra wire up over there, stuck it to the side, zip tied it in a couple places, and twist tied it just to make sure nothing's gonna ever fall down near my accelerator or brake pedals. And then I ran the OBD cable across this little metal bracket and wrapped it around right up here. So let me see if I can show you this a little bit better. The OBD cable is plugged in right here, goes around, is zip tied right there, is zip tied again there, over to where it's nice and safe. Now I'm gonna clip off the extra extensions on the zip ties and my install is complete. Let's go test out the Banks PedalMonster.